Hello, everyone. Psychopath1c here. I feel kind of bad for the last video I did because apparently I caused motion sickness for some people. So sorry about that. I'll try my best not to shake the camera around. I don't have a camera stand, so yeah. Anyways, am. I'll try my best not to shake the camera, but I'm trying my best. But I'm going to review a film that I personally like. Um, it's it's pretty controversial in like the black metal fandom. But I personally liked it. It's uh it's a biopic. Not all parts are true. It even says that right on the case. Based on truth and lies. But the film is Lords of Chaos. Um, I've I've seen this movie about maybe 4 or 5 times. It comes with the DVD. Both are the uncut versions, which I don't really know what's so uncut about it. It is bloody, don't get me wrong, but anyways, what this is about, it's not so much based on the book Lords of Chaos as it is just based on Mayhem themselves. I do delve into the black metal subgenre of music. I especially love industrial black metal. My favorite being Cradle of Filth, which uh, Danny Filth's voice is just amazing. I also happen to like some of Dark Throne stuff. Dark Funeral is a good one. I loved the Dark Funeral covers album, the one where they ended up covering a bunch of songs you wouldn't think they did cover, but they ended up covering Dead Skin Mask, and I really enjoyed that cover. But yeah, you don't really have to be a black metal fan to really get what this movie is vibing for. But like, it does help. It does help if you're in the know of black metal. Um, but this film starts off kind of in a joking way. We get introduced to our main character, Oyston Arseth, aka Euronymous from Mayhem, and it's got like a narration to it. So yeah, but what ends up happening is Euronymous wants to start this new genre um, of music, and he starts doing the tone, uh, messing around with the guitar sound to create a new sound, which he dubs a Norwegian black metal. Now, if he was not the first one, I kind of see that. But if he was the first, then okay, that's cool too. From what I hear, like from all the documentaries I've seen, especially the one from Until the Light Takes Us, that is a terrific documentary. It's got interviews with uh some of the some of the people in the black metal band community and whatnot. But from what people say, Euronymous was not a nice person. He was not a good person. Um, and what this movie tried to do was try to humanize him. And it also tried to humanize the rest of the group as well. Like, it's showing it like as them as, well, I wouldn't say kids, young adults, 20 years old, starting their own band. It starts off as kind of a joke as well. Like, there's a part where they're practicing and everything, and then all of a sudden, uh, the drummer says "laters," and then he just disappears, and then Hellhammer appears. Um, the performances are really really good. Especially Rory Culkin as Euronymous. He did a fantastic job. You really sympathized for him, even though I know from what people have said, Euronymous was not a nice person when he was alive. We'll get to that. Um, for those who know the story of Mayhem and Black Metal, they definitely know the story of this, the actual story. But they're looking for a singer. And one thing I didn't really like too much, they should have shown the singer they had before Dead. Um, they had a singer called Maniac. I didn't really hear much of the Maniac side of Mayhem, but it would have been nice to like see like Maniac in mentioned in here somewhat. Like maybe they could have like had a throwaway line, like, well, maybe not a throwaway line. That's pretty much not doing it justice, but um uh maybe have Maniac mentioned. That would help. But The thing I loved most about black metal, I started listening to black metal, oh god, in 2009 when I started high school. Like, I was just delving into whatever music I could get my hands on, be it death metal, black metal, industrial, um, synthwave. I just pretty much loved listening to music. I loved listening to all the different musics from the different world, all over the world, and I ended up coming across this isn't black metal, but it's industrial metal. Um, uh, a band called Duran Gray. They're a Japanese heavy metal band, amazing band. Um, but anyways, um, Euronymous ends up starting the band Mayhem, and he decides he needs a singer. Now it doesn't show Maniac in this movie, so automatically he ends up sending letters out to people like trying to find a singer, and he gets a letter from uh, I'm going to butcher the name Per Pele Olin, or Dead. Um, he ends up sending them a, a sample tape of him singing, and I wish it would have explained like the band Dead was in before Mayhem, like because they left a lot of stuff out, but they tried to streamline it like a movie, so I can understand leaving out some things, but Dead wasn't in Mayhem. That was not his first band like that he was in. He was in another band. I just forget the name of it. But this video's probably gonna like get a lot of hate from the black metal community. I'm sorry. Like, I enjoyed this movie. I actually have some Mayhem CDs. The CDs I got are Out from the Dark, which is demos from when Dead was around. Recorded in 19. I'll actually grab it real quick. I'll just leave the phone here. Grab them real quick. Actually, grab all three. But anyways, here are the albums I have, and um, Out from the Dark. I was excited to get this one because I always wanted a CD with Dead's vocals on it. I could have gotten Death Crush, but the place I went didn't have Death Crush, so couldn't really get it. But this is a demo CD. It's a re-release, and it's got Death Crush on it, which was nice because like that way I don't have to get the CD. I'm going to edit out the name of this song, but I'll just say the first two words. Well, first three words. Chainsaw Guts. For those who have heard the song, know what it is, but Dad's vocals on this are beautifully demonic, and I thought it was wonderful. Necrolust, Pure, Armageddon, Carnage, Funeral Fog, which is actually on Demon Stairs Domes of Tennis, which I'll get to. Um, Freezing Moon, which is also on Die Mysterious Doms Tennis, and Buried by Time and Dust. Um, this is a wonderful album, especially if you want to get introduced to black metal. This was one of the first Mayhem CDs I picked up. But then the second CD I picked up was their newest album at the time, back in 2019, Demon. Now, some people liked this album, but some people didn't. I personally liked it. I love that cover art. Usually, when you get the Mayhem CDs, they'll have the True Mayhem. If like you get them from like a store or something, or from the Mayhem website, it will say the True Mayhem right there. But this album, I thought it was great. My favorite song on it, I know it's weird talking about black metal music and talking about favorite song, but my favorite song on here is Falsified and Hated and Worthless Abomination Destroyed. The guitar work in those is amazing. And last but not least, I'll show this off. This is the live version of it because I couldn't really find the original recorded version with Euronymous from the 1990s before what happened to him. But uh, literally, I got the live version of a De Mysteris Dom Satanas, which I see why this album is well regarded by black metal enthusiasts. It's got so many great songs on here. Funeral Fog, great opener. Freezing Moon has that killer riff. Cursed by Eternity, my favorite song on here, Pagan Fears. Love the guitar work in that. Life Eternal, From the Dark Past, Buried by Time and Dust. Oh, I guess Buried by Time and Dust is on this. It's been a while since I've listened to this. And the last song is Die Mysterious Dom Satanas. But this is a digipack, and I actually got this from the Mayhem store um, on the Mayhem website. And I think that is some killer artwork. I'd love that on a poster or maybe even a magnet. And then there's some footage of the DVD because this does come with a DVD. It's the live DVD. Um, Let me see exactly where this was filmed. It probably doesn't say, but okay, it's a Region All disc though. But sorry for the shaking. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Uh, Euronymous ends up contacting Dead, and Dead ends up coming all the way from Switzerland. Um, um, he says in his letter that he's from Transylvania, but come to find out it's from Switzerland. So, anyways, he ends up becoming, I guess, friends with Euronymous, and they end up moving into a barn, like a farmhouse, and that's where they record their music. And so, and apparently, Euronymous had a thing for synth music, and Dead didn't like that, but they don't have that in the movie. They do have the synth music in here, but Dead did not like Euronymous listening to well, he just didn't like synth wave in general, synth music. So like he'd pretty much put it on not only because Euronymous liked it, but Euronymous would put it on to annoy the hell out of Dead. And it was a very toxic relationship between Dead and Euronymous. From what I've read, from what the documentaries have said, like Euronymous was not a nice person, like I said. But anyways, Dead, what he would do before each of his shows with Mayhem and with his other band too, I forget what that other band's name was, but he would bury his clothes in the woods, and on the day of performing, he'd take the clothes back out so that he would smell like rot of the grave. And he had a habit of cutting himself and whatnot, spraying blood across the area throwing pig heads and whatnot. So when I first heard of Mayhem, like that was the first era I ended up hearing of Mayhem was about Dead. And lo and behold, in around 1992 or 1991, I forget what year it happened, but Dead tragically committed suicide. Um, this this isn't going to be a monetized video, anyways, but it it was a heart wrenching scene. Um, seeing seeing Pele Olin or Per Pele Olin unalive himself. It was heart wrenching. Like you spend like 15 maybe 20 minutes of the movie like having like this silly little thing going on, and then all of a sudden it just gets really really dark. Dead ends up taking the shotgun, yeah, slicing his wrists, and he's gone. He's gone, no coming back from that. And this made me so mad, but it was true. I actually have seen the photo online because it's on the cover of the Dawn of the Black Hearts album, which is a live album of Mayhem. Uh, Euronymous took pictures of Dead's body and sent them to like different people and whatnot, and one of them actually put it on the cover of a bootleg live CD of the album I just said. But yeah, like no, I didn't agree with Euronymous in that at all. But anyways, that pretty much breaks up his friendship with Necro Butcher in the movie. I'm sure I'm sure Necro Butcher hated the fact that Euronymous did that. But yeah, then it cuts to years later, about 2 or 3 years later. He owns this shop, Helvete. If it still exists, I haven't done a whole lot of reading on it, but this was apparently a big hangout for the black metal musicians and friends of Euronymous to hang out, called the Black Circle and whatnot. And we get introduced to the different artists that would be there. We get introduced to Blackthorn. We get introduced to gosh, what is his name? Forget his real name. But anyways, he was the drummer for Emperor, and they go into his story to he wants to kill somebody, and he wonders what it would be like to take a human life. And so close close to the end of the movie, maybe about 45 minutes, 50 minutes before the end of the movie. This is a pretty lengthy movie too. Um, he ends up fulfilling his fantasy. He ends up going to a bar in Lillehammer in Norway, and he's just having a drink. And then a guy ends up thinking he's gonna cruise with the drummer of Emperor. And what ends up happening is he leads him out into the middle of like a park area, stabs him. I think on the report it was 37 times or 27 times. I'm getting my facts wrong. I'm sorry. I am so so sorry, but he stabbed him a bunch of times, and there was no music in the scene. It didn't need it. It was already heart wrenching enough, and you felt bad for the person. And so that showed that this movie wasn't afraid to go the way it did. Like when it was on the death scenes and whatnot in this movie, they lingered on them. Like they didn't cut away at all, and they didn't do any fancy editing or anything. They made it look as real as possible, and it was heart wrenching. And and the fact that most of like the death stuff and the horrifying stuff that happened within the band was true, that really hurt. But anyways, we get introduced before uh the Emperor Drummer killed that person. We're introduced to a guy by the name of Varg Vikernes, and here is where the factual stuff and the fictitious stuff intertwine. And I do not like Varg Vikernes. I've seen his videos. I've seen his belief system and everything, and I'm not for that at all. I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, they ripped Varg Vikernes a new hole in this movie. Like, they made fun of him beyond belief in this movie, which he kind of deserves it because, like, when they were casting this movie, they casted a Jewish actor, which I find to be really, really kick ass. Respect to every actor and actress out there. They ended up getting Emory Cohen to be Varg Vikernes in this. And Varg, I actually saw the video of it. He said, "Why is there a fat Jew playing me?" And I just clapped and I said, huh, well, screw you, buddy. But anyways, Emory Cohen did a really good job on this. He was over the top. He was cartoony and everything. It was the exact opposite of what Varg was like in real life, which Varg was an asshole to begin with. Real name Christian Vikernes, Varg meaning wolf. But anyways, he ends up doing some church burnings. Now this is where another fictitious thing happens. Uh, Varg has said many times that he only ever did a few church burnings, and it was only to get a notoriety on Helvete because Helvete was losing customers and whatnot. So he figured, you know what, this might help get people interested in Helvete and ordering stuff from them and whatnot. So those are his words. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But anyways, what ends up happening is, um, in the movie, Varg ends up becoming obsessed with the church burnings. Uh, I think there's 3 church burnings in this movie, and there were more after he was arrested and whatnot. But Varg, not a likable person, character, like just an all around unlikable person. That's all I can really say about him without getting vulgar or anything. But um, and Euronymous wasn't a likable person either. So yeah, but they're humanizing Euronymous in this movie. And they have a person in here played by Sky Ferreira, which this character was just made up for the movie. It was a photographer. She plays like a photographer, almost like a groupie a little bit, who ends up like following the band from show to show and like taking pictures and whatnot. She ends up falling in love with Euronymous, which, from what people have said, Euronymous was gay, which perfectly fine with that. I wish they would have explored that in this movie, like explored like his homosexuality a little bit. If it is true, which a lot of the black metal band members are saying it is true. So I'd like to see what they would have done then. But anyways, he ends up falling in love with a photographer played by Sky Ferreira, and he ends up getting out of uh, the record business because it's becoming too stressful on him. And he ends up getting mad at Varg for going to what magazine was it? Man, should have done some research before I did this. But anyways, he ends up going to a magazine and they end up publishing a story about black metal. And he does an interview, and he says, "We've been in trouble for murder, and we've been in trouble for church burnings." But the way he was saying it at first was like, "I can't say who it is," and then he ends up slipping up and saying "we," so he ends up getting caught in a lie. And they ask him to put up two knives and put hair over his face so they can't see his face. And that's the famous cover you see on, oh gosh, what is that magazine's name? I've read a few issues of it too, and can't remember it off the top of my head. But anyways, um, Euronymous gets mad at that, and so he ends up saying something that would come back to haunt him. He says, "I'm going to take a stun gun and torture Varg in the middle of the woods, strapped to a chair, and torture Varg with a with a stun gun." And Varg believed it. Varg actually heard the phone call from what Blackthorn ended up saying and everything. Blackthorn and Varg both heard the phone call. But anyways, he said that, and the words end up making its way back to Varg through Blackthorn. And what ended up happening was, Varg isn't taking things lying down. He ends up getting a letter from Euronymous saying like, "Send this letter and you'll get all the royalties from the Birdsome albums. Uh, and I hope we can remain friends." And so instead of sending the letter, he goes all the way up to Euronymous' apartment. And this is as true as it can possibly get, because I haven't seen the photos, but I've read the reports, and this matches up perfectly with what the reports say. Except for the whole chocolate milk thing. They didn't need that. They did not need that chocolate milk part. But um, uh, Varg ends up going to the apartment and ends up saying to Euronymous, "Okay, I'll sign this." And so Euronymous goes to get his pen, but Varg thinks, "Oh, he's going to get the stun gun." And so what Varg ends up doing, he ends up stabbing him a bunch of times in the stomach, a bunch of times in the back. Um, ends up stabbing him all the way out into the hallway and everything, and it just goes on. Like, you feel for Euronymous in the movie. But anyways, it just keeps on going on, and then all of a sudden, how he didn't die from all these stab wounds. He probably did die from all these stab wounds, but they say the one that killed him was the one to the head. Literally, the knife goes right into the head, and Varg stomps on the knife, and I'm just like, oh. And then that's how the movie pretty much ends. But this movie I found to be quite a ride. This movie is definitely up there on some of my favorite biopics. It's up there with The American Dream, the one about the Jackson Five, What's Love Got to Do with It, the one about Tina Turner and Ike Turner. This one definitely is worthy of being up there with those biopics. This is a fantastic movie. Now, it's not all of it's true, but the parts that are true definitely did disturb me. All the actors did a fine job on it. The effects in for the blood and everything was amazing. Like, it actually looked real. All the performances, like I said, were great. Rory Culkin should have actually won an award for his portrayal as Euronymous in this movie, but this is something of a horror equivalent drama. So, like, horror isn't really all that loved in the academies and the Grammys and whatnot. But this movie's fantastic. Definitely check this out. If you're in the UK, They actually have a Blu-ray from Arrow Video with tons of special features. Like it's got a making of, it's got behind the scenes footage of what it was like on set, interviews with the cast and crew. But this one, the one we got in America, isn't an Arrow release. It's a Vice Films release, Gunpowder and Sky release. And all it comes with is 11 directors' teasers and trailers. So, yeah, that's all this one contains. But it is fully uncut. Take that as you will. I've never seen the R-rated version, if there is an R-rated version. Limited edition DVD Blu-ray combo. I picked this up for about 18 bucks. Well worth it. And on that day, I ended up buying Demon, which definitely a good introduction to Mayhem. Definitely get this album as well, especially if you want to hear Dead's vocals, or you can just look it up on YouTube. I'm a lover of physical media, so I want to get CDs. I don't have a vinyl player, so I don't plan on getting vinyl records anytime soon. But yeah, and you can definitely pick this up on Mayhem's website, The Mysterious Dome Satanas Live. Um, Look at that stage design. That is amazing. And Attila, not Attila the band, Attila the singer for Mayhem, he sounds like a friggin' demon. Um, and it's wild his octave range. Not on the same level as Abath or Danny Filth, but gosh darn it, can that dude scream? But anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed this review. Sorry for the shaking yet again. I gotta get a camera stand or something to hold up my phone. But anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed this review. It was a little lengthy, but I wanted to get through all the nitty gritty stuff with the movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, entertainment value and overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I was thoroughly enjoyed with this. I really don't have any complaints with this movie. Yes, it does have a lot of fictionalization in it, but it's a movie, so you're going to embellish the truth a little bit, and it's going to rile some people's feathers. But I personally liked this movie. I'm glad I own it. Um, Great introduction to the world of black metal, but not a great way to show the truth. But it is entertaining. I will leave it at that. But if you're wondering what the inside of the Blu-ray looks like, I'll actually grab it out real quick. Same cover, but different back. See, there's the special features. There's Sky Ferreira. There's the band with the dead. There's the church that's burning, and there's Rory Culkin as Euronymous. Some people say this movie is cringe, but I don't think so. I've seen far worse when it comes to stuff in movies, and this is not the epitome of cringe as of what people say, but I personally enjoyed this movie. Leave your thoughts down below of what you thought of the movie. It definitely delves into that horror equivalent, especially for a biopic. It definitely feels kind of horrifying. So definitely check it out. Leave your comments down below. Sorry for the shaking yet again, but I have tremors, so my hands are gonna shake regardless. But anyways, hopefully y'all have a great night, and peace out.